So it's been 1.5 years since I last talked about Substack on this channel, and a lot of you have been asking, are you back on the platform or not? It seems that you are. Do you still recommend Substack? Why did you leave Substack? Etc. I have a lot of questions like that. So let's talk about it. Here's the short version for all of you guys who are in a rush. Yes, I'm back on Substack, and yes, I absolutely still recommend it. There you go. And for all of you who actually want to hear more about it, let's get into it. Here's what I'll talk about in this video. Why I have been on and off Substack for several years now. Why I'm back on it now, because I am. Why I still very much recommend Substack for a particular type of creator or solopreneur. And I will get more into who that person is. I will not get into how to do Substack in this video. That is a topic for another video, okay? So first off, why have I been on and off Substack? I originally moved my email list to Substack from MailChimp back in 2021, I think it was. I had only 100 or so subscribers at that point. Substack was a free alternative. It looked a lot more fun and easy to use, and it came with built-in growth mechanics and community functions. So I was curious to try it out. And I was immediately rewarded with a much more pleasurable publishing experience, leading to more frequent newsletters, which in turn led to much quicker growth of my email list for that sake alone. The biggest contributor to the growth of my email list before that had been YouTube, even though my channel was just a little baby back in the day. But Substack quickly became a runner-up for this. And my analytics now tell me that around 20 to 30% of my subscribers has come as a result of the Substack network or app. And that's thousands of people who wouldn't be with me if I hadn't been on this particular platform. But as I like to point out, and as I will repeat until the end of my days, it's not about the size of your audience. More subscribers aren't better by default. What matters more is whether or not the subscribers you do have are a good match for you. If they resonate enough with you and your content to stay subscribed, if they interact with you, reply to your emails or posts, share your content, these are the things that truly matter. And I've noticed that the people who discover me via Substack, they tend to be my kind of people. They tend to want to stick around. They tend to want to buy my various offerings. They get to know me better there and can connect with me more easily. We get a quality connection. My Substack doubles as a community in a way that a regular email newsletter can't. I also love that I get the best of both worlds with Substack. Everything I write goes out as an email first, and so it lands in people's inboxes and has a pretty good chance of actually being opened and read. But it also stays in this kind of archive and publication page where new people can discover old content. So what I write on Substack can actually continue to gain traction for a long time after I've published it. And that is not the case with all of the emails that I've sent via MailChimp or Flowdesk over the years. I usually get some amount of email replies to my regular newsletters that I send out via Flowdesk, for example, or from non-Substack users in my inbox, but I get more interaction on Substack by Substack users in the form of comments, quotations, shares. My email list grows a little bit with each new thing that I post. And that's not really the case in the same way with a regular newsletter. And then there are the paid subscriptions, of course. They are not my main goal for being on Substack, but I still allow people to support my work there if they want to, and I offer some extra perks to paying supporters. The income that I make on Substack is a very welcome addition to the sort of patchwork of income streams that make my business stay afloat, and I happily share 10% of that income with Substack for providing me with this platform. I prefer that over having to pay a monthly or yearly fee or having my space littered with ads and distractions. So hearing all of this, you might ask yourself, well, if Substack is so fantastic, why did you leave it in the first place? So I've had 3 main reasons for leaving this platform in the past. The first one is not wanting my content to live on a platform that I don't fully own and control. I also didn't necessarily want time-sensitive, non-evergreen updates or content to be public and archived the way it is on Substack. It didn't suit my business goals at that particular time. But the main reason for getting off Substack was that I wanted access to specific features that Substack doesn't provide or just isn't ideal for. Those features being email sequence automation, for example, personalization, audience segmentation, which you can kind of do with Substack, but not in the way that I needed to do it, with separate landing pages and welcome emails for different languages, for example, because I also run a Swedish newsletter. I am Swedish, by the way, in case you didn't know. So let's address these reasons for leaving and why I've still decided to go back to Substack. So in regards to wanting to own and control your own content, this is something that I've talked a lot about over the years, but have been forced to kind of reevaluate my views on lately. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Unless we code our entire website and shop from scratch and host it on our own server out in our garage or something, we will never fully own and control our content and our business online. That's just unfortunately how it is nowadays. We will always be at the mercy of some platform or software to some degree. So it's not a question of either or, it's a question of how much or little control we are comfortable with and whether the trade-offs are worth it for us. So in my case, I could decide to host all of my content on my own website, and I have in the past. The upside to that would be that I get to keep everything in one place. I can fiddle endlessly with the design and functionality. I can easily spend hours and weeks on those kinds of things if left unchecked. The downside to hosting everything on my own platform is that very few new people are going to find it. SEO isn't what it used to be nowadays, especially now with AI disrupting search. Google has become absolute trash, littered with ads and AI slop. The content on my website won't get eyeballs unless I constantly promote it somewhere else. Social media used to be great for this back in the day. Not so much anymore, because social media has become overcrowded and shitified surveillance capitalism hellscapes. And growing a self-hosted blog today is probably harder than it's ever been before. My current website platform is Shopify, which I chose because I run mainly an e-commerce business, and so I do need good functionality for things like localization and currency conversion and different payment options. Compared to my previous platform, Squarespace, Shopify lets me save subscription costs and transaction fees. So that's a huge upside, and that's why I made the switch from Squarespace to Shopify. The downside is that Shopify kind of sucks in the blogging department. It's just not made for creating lots of content and displaying it in a pretty and practical way. I can't even get email notifications when people leave comments on my blog post, which just blows my mind. So I am actually just as much at the mercy of Shopify's whims and decisions as I am of Squarespace's or Substack's. Therefore, I would rather have my content live on a separate platform like Substack, where it can and does get discovered by new readers every day and gets comments and shares, all without me having to do a bunch of tedious growth hacking. I get to reach these readers in a reliable way via email and collect those email addresses in a list that is mine to keep. I can always export it and take it with me elsewhere. And so I actually have more control over my content and its audience on Substack compared to my own website, which is pretty ironic. So let's talk about evergreen versus time-sensitive content. I cringe a bit when I read through my old posts on Substack Because in the past, I mainly approached Substack as a newsletter tool. And so a lot of my posts there, my older posts, are written like newsletters with lots of personal updates and pitches for new classes or products or collection releases. It really feels like stuff that should have just gone to people's inboxes and not to a public archive of posts. I use Substack a bit differently now. I view it more as a blog that also goes out via email. It's written more as a blog post in that I want it to be a pleasurable reading experience for people, but it also contains some short promotions or updates at the end. So it's kind of a mix between both. It's kind of how many podcasters do it, right? The episodes are evergreen as a whole, but then they also usually share some time-sensitive news and updates. And this for me is a good middle ground that works for the way I run my business now. I've tried sending out more traditional promotional newsletters in the past, but I found that I sell about as much when I just mention my offerings on the fly, like in a casual way in my content. Content can still market your business without you having to market your business in all of your content, if that makes sense. But what about automation and segmentation and personalization? The main reason why I left Substack. Well, I've concluded that these are highly overrated tools for my particular business and marketing preferences. Honestly, I'm just tired of lead magnets and email sequences, and I cringe at these personalized emails that just feel like weak attempts at artificial friendship to me. Most of us know exactly what we're in for when we sign up for some freebie or, downloadable of some kind, which is a never-ending series of marketing emails with one goal in mind, to get us to buy something. It does probably lead to sales for the businesses using it, and it has for me in the past. But like I said, I sell about as much by just focusing on being of value to people and building relationships and just gently mentioning my paid offerings when it makes sense. There is no need to hard sell, no need to warm up cold leads with content marketing, and no need for these long, complicated sales funnels. I could never get those funnels to work as intended anyways. There was always some glitch or something just robotic and unnatural and artificial about it. And I've just had to come to terms with the fact that no matter how hard I try, I can't completely control someone else's journey with me. I can't completely control what they see and in which order they see it. I can't force them to purchase something that they are not ready to purchase right now. And so maybe the most responsible, most honest, most humane thing to do is to let people interact with me in the way that suits their needs and wants, and trust that they will look for more information on their own if and when they want to. I value clarity and honesty in business. I want people to know exactly what they are signing up for and what they can expect from me going forward. And that's what Substack does so well. You have this landing page where you can describe the offering, like what your publication is about, and people can sign up. But there's also this button to let them read your previous stuff, right? They arrive at your archive and they can see exactly what they are going to get. So it's very transparent. What you see is what you get. And if you like what you see, you'll subscribe and probably, hopefully, stay subscribed, as opposed to just quickly grabbing a freebie and then unsubscribing because you don't want to get marketed to. All of this is to say that it's really hard nowadays to make the right decision about which platform to be on. So many of the platforms that we have depended on to publish our content, building an audience, staying in touch with friends, are being enshittified, are being weaponized against us, are becoming increasingly unusable and insufferable to spend time on. Good alternatives are hard to find. Like, there are downsides to every platform. There are algorithms, there are profit schemes, there are Nazis almost everywhere we go online, and we can't control who else is on a particular platform. We can't control the rollout of new features or the direction that this platform will go in. All we can do is the best decision for our business. And that often takes some trial and error, which is why I have experimented so much and sort of changed my mind back and forth. So, who do I think Substack is right for? I think it's a perfect starting platform. If you've been wanting to start a newsletter for some while or a blog, but the whole thing feels a bit scary, You're not sure what to write about or how to write about it. You need to just get the ball rolling and start building your confidence, start building momentum. And maybe you're not ready to pay hundreds of dollars a year for an email provider. Maybe you don't have anything for sale yet in your business, or you're not making consistent enough sales to justify that investment in your business. Substack is a great free alternative that will still let you grow your email list as big as you want to and monetize it if and when you feel ready. I also think it's a perfect platform for those who really enjoy creating content for its own sake, not just for marketing purposes. I think it's great for writers and podcasters in particular, because you can actually earn an income directly from your content on top of whatever other offerings you have. So not only do you get a good publishing experience with lots of useful tools and functions, but you also get built-in growth and discoverability for your content. Substack lets you speak with your audience as opposed to just to your audience. It's great for relationship and community building. Who do I think it's not for? I don't think it's for you if you are not interested in content creation, if you have no real use for it in your business. Maybe most of your clients come via word of mouth or referrals or direct pitching or wholesale or whatever it might be. And you don't really take pleasure in writing or podcasting or creating videos. You don't want to feel like you're in this content creation hamster wheel. You're not interested in building a community. Your approach to marketing is more systematic and strategic. You want to create funnels. You want your marketing to feel more hands off so that you can focus on other things in your business. All of these reasons are completely valid. Like, this is really a matter of personal preference, not whether one model is better than the other one, because they both work. Like I said, I've tried them both. They both work. There is no one size fits all in marketing. I will keep repeating that to the end of my days. The best marketing and email strategy for you is the one that feels the most easy and natural and pleasurable and sustainable for you. It's the one that you can keep up week after week, month after month, for years to come. And sometimes you have to try different ways and different platforms, different routines in order to discover what actually works for you. That's what I've done, and that's what I encourage you to do, especially if you are just beginning to build your email list. I have helped several creators now get started with Substack in particular and with email marketing and marketing in general. I have a one-on-one coaching practice. I coach via voice messages and chat. It's relaxed, it's flexible, it's very introvert friendly. And if you could use some extra support right now in your business, I invite you to check that out. And there's a link below in the description where you can read more about it. I hope this video has answered some questions and given you some good ideas. If you have more questions about Substack, ask them below in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video.